Good morning, everyone. Overnight grain trade slightly higher again. Corn up 1.5, 539. Beans up 2.5 at 1253 as of this recording. We are seeing spillover support again. This time, as beans saw spillover support from energies yesterday, it is coming from palm oil. We, again, rarely discuss palm oil unless it makes a significant move, which it did last night. Both 2 nights ago and last night, palm oil making new highs for its entire move. There is a chart of the palm oil market in the morning grain notes, so take a look at that chart and you can see the significant breakout that we're talking about. That move higher should support bean oil again today and beans as well. Also, another thing we want to point out for beans, they have been in a grind lower, but in this grind lower ever since June, there are intermediate active bounces. Beans only fall a certain amount each time they move lower. The overall trend is lower, but after a certain number of days of slide, you do see a relief bounce every now and then. That chart is also in the morning grain notes. So you can take a look at what we're talking about there. And one of our relief bounces was yesterday. So there we go. In fact, if you look at that chart, it even suggests beans could bounce a little bit further here today or over the next couple days. But keep in mind that next USDA report is Tuesday. Trade is looking for roughly a half a bushel to a bushel yield increase for beans. And recent discussion yesterday was a half a bushel increase for corn. By itself, those numbers are not overly large, but it is a bit more concerning for beans because if we raise yield, that goes on top of the increased stocks we saw last week. And that grand total number for new crop carryout on Tuesday's report will again at least suggest $12 beans, maybe even slightly under $12 beans. So we still want to use corn and bean bounces as selling opportunities here. That's what we're looking here for the grains. Other news is a little bit on the quiet side. We will say that overseas wheat demand did pick up again yesterday. The overseas wheat values fell for one day, and that immediately sparked new buying from Egypt for overseas wheat. This is good, obviously, for wheat prices, and it is supporting U.S. wheat prices. However, we will eventually need to see that translate to increased weekly sales of our own wheat. Still, so far, haven't seen that. Another thing to mention for wheat, the dollar is right at new contract highs as well. The dollar isn't offering day-to-day influence on our wheat, but long term, if the dollar does trend higher, it's difficult to expect wheat to also trend higher. Over in cattle, mixed news there. We heard a 124 early trade. We also heard a 124 Texas cash pool trade yesterday. But in the meantime, we've also heard 122 trades in Nebraska, and we also heard a 122 separate trade in Texas yesterday. So mixed news given that last week's average cash trade was right at 123. We've been hearing a dollar higher and we've been hearing a dollar lower. So it's Wednesday. We should get quite a bit of cash news here today. We'll see what we get and how close to last week's 123 trade it is. So as always, we'll see what we get here today. Give me a call if you have any questions.